Hi guys! What I will be talking to you about today is not an easy topic to discuss. I'm talking about physician-assisted suicide. Not allowing the person the right to go out on their own terms is immoral and honestly cruel. Prolonging the period of suffering of a disease does no good whatsoever. That's why euthanasia is a human right. But don't be confused. Self-inflicted suicide is not okay. Self-inflicted suicide leaves the family, friends, and community with many sorrowful unanswered questions. Euthanasia allows you to properly put your affairs in order before the deed is done. And it also gives those close to the deceased peace of mind, knowing that they were not responsible for the incident and can emotionally prepare for it. I will explain why self-suicide is never the answer. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255. Don't be afraid to call. You'll be able to understand the different types of euthanasia and why it's a responsible choice if that choice is to be made. Let me start out by making this very clear. Self-inflicted suicide is unacceptable. It's heart-wrenching and honestly irresponsible. Before we get into it, let me explain the differences. Yes, there are different types of euthanasia. Voluntary euthanasia is performed by the dying patient themselves. Involuntary euthanasia is performed by the doctors when the patient is unable to do so, such as someone's in a coma and the doctors decide to unplug life support. Passive euthanasia is when the doctor prescribes painkillers and, withhold treatment. And active euthanasia is when the patient is given painkillers that speed up the dying process. Now, this last one is called compulsory euthanasia, and it's rightfully illegal in all countries. It is when the patient is killed simply because they have a certain disease or hit a certain age. Thus, when I speak for PAD, I speak for voluntary, involuntary, passive, or active. All of these are courtesy of Euthanasia: A Moral Debate 2019. An important point to mention is doctors are not required to assist in your death. Many physical and psychiatric evaluations must be approved for this decision. An additional means of approval depends on the state of residency. A patient may want to travel to meet their end-of-life wishes, but as of 2020, only Colorado, California, Hawaii, Montana, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington allow it, according to Death with Dignity 2020. Someone that does not want to pass and be remembered as the one in grave pain, in a hospital, in a coma, whatever horrible state they will eventually succumb to, has every right to go out on their own terms. Doctors have been arrested for assisting patients who assured the courts that they wanted their lives resolved peacefully. We cannot allow doctors to be treated as common criminals who are only doing their job to serve the patient's final wishes. Some may claim that this next one is a bad comparison, but when our beloved pets are in great pain or close to death, we do not let them wallow in agony. We put them to sleep. Though it's a very sad occasion, it takes away all of their pain and brings them and us peace. That being said, another reason families put their pets to sleep may come across very cold: the finances. Medical bills aren't cheap. The average cost of an ICU bed per night is $1,107 according to Health Leaders Media 2020. And if that hospital stay is not surmounting to a better and longer quality of life, the suffering may not want to leave behind a large debt that still has to be paid. Also, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there is a shortage of valuable equipment like ventilators and beds. With that being said, I'd like to make a PSA. Whether you are 82 or 18, have a plan in place. God forbid something happens and you're not going to make it. Your loved ones will not have to make tough decisions such as if and when to unplug life support, whether to bury, cremate, or donate your body to science. Passing away is never an easy topic to think on, but it's a necessary one to discuss and consider. Moving away from the colder end of it, let's talk about the ripples in the pond after the stone has been splashed. If it is self-inflicted, the wound that it causes those close to the deceased does not heal, and obviously there's a terrible shock with the news. For starters, someone's got to find the body. Do you really want someone to hold that memory? When a patient chooses PAD, it allows room for preparation. PAD eliminates that feeling of responsibility that those who have connections feel or with self-inflicted suicide. It gets rid of the what did I do to make them do this? What could I have done or done differently? Why didn't I see the signs? This heaps up to a lot of unresolved guilt. And whether they reject or accept the plan, it gives time and rise to communication, which can help with the coping. I know that I just discussed a lot of hefty information with you, but I seriously hope that it sinks in. Euthanasia is not murder. It is not going against the, quote, God-given gift of life, and that it's too valuable to throw away. That statement implies that someone whose life is guaranteed to be spent in unbearable pain is morally obligated to live simply because they possess life, according to Euthanasia, a Moral Debate, 2019. If death is chosen by the patient, that choice must be respected. If not, we are outrightly ignoring quality of life of that person and those around them. Quality of life meaning happiness, comfort, peace, resolution. Once again, self-inflicted suicide is not okay. It's not fair to those close to the deceased, and it doesn't make anyone's pain better. Also, with the rising prices of healthcare, is it really worth wasting away in a hospital bed in a vegetative state? The last thought I want to leave you with today is have an end-of-life plan and make sure someone close to you knows it. Death is a sad experience for most all people, but PAD can take away some of those hardships. Thank you.